There is a decision most American families make in a hospital hallway under fluorescent lights, with a doctor waiting for an answer, and it is almost always the wrong one. The doctor has just told you that your mother or your father can no longer safely live alone. And in that moment, exhausted and frightened, the family reaches for the only option they can think of, the nursing home. I am going to ask you to wait, not forever, just long enough to understand what I am about to tell you, because there is another path. Several other paths, in fact, that most families never learn about until years later when the money is gone and they are standing in an empty house wondering how it all disappeared so fast. Do not go into a nursing home or put your parent into one until you understand this first. If you are the one who handles things for your parents, the one who will be standing in that hallway with the doctor waiting, this video is for you. In the next 25 minutes, I am going to show you exactly what the nursing home costs, what Medicaid does and does not cover, and the alternatives that can keep your parent at home and your family's savings intact. My name is not important. What matters is that by the end of this, you will never make that hallway decision blind. Let me start with the number that changes everything, because until you understand the number, none of the rest makes sense. The average cost of a nursing home in the United States now runs between $9,000 and $11,000 a month. In many states it is higher. Let me put that in plain terms. That is over $100,000 a year. For a couple who spent 40 years building a nest egg of $200,000 or $300,000, a single nursing home stay can erase everything they saved in 2 or 3 years. And here is the part that stuns families the most. Medicare, the insurance your parent paid into their entire working life, does not pay for long-term nursing home care. It covers a short rehabilitation stay up to 100 days under strict conditions, and then it stops. After that, the bill is yours. Either you pay out of pocket until the money is gone, or you turn to Medicaid, and Medicaid has its own rules, its own look-back period, and its own consequences that I have covered in detail in other videos. So the nursing home is not just an emotional decision. It is the single largest financial event most families will ever face. And that is exactly why you should not walk into it without knowing the alternatives. Let me tell you about a woman named Eleanor. Eleanor was 79. She lived in the home she and her late husband had bought in 1974 in a quiet neighborhood outside Cleveland. After a fall, her doctor told her daughter Karen that Eleanor could no longer live alone. Karen did what most people do. She began touring nursing homes. She found one she liked. It cost $9,200 a month. Karen sat at her kitchen table that night and did the math. Her mother had about $180,000 in savings. At $9,200 a month, that money would last around 19 months. After that, her mother would be broke, the house would likely have to be sold, and Karen would be navigating a Medicaid crisis on top of her grief. And then Karen did something most families never do. Before signing anything, she called an elder law attorney and asked a simple question: is there another way? There was. There were several. And I'm going to walk you through the same options that attorney walked Karen through, because they apply to almost every family facing this decision. The first alternative is care at home, and it is far more achievable than most families believe. When families picture the choice, they imagine it as binary. Either mom stays home with no help and is in danger, or mom goes to a nursing home. But there is an enormous middle ground, and it is where most people actually belong. In-home care can range from a few hours a day of help with meals, medication, and bathing, all the way up to full-time live-in care. And here is the critical financial insight. For many people who do not yet need round-the-clock skilled nursing, in-home care costs less than a nursing home, not more. The home health aide averages far less per hour than the equivalent institutional care. And if your parent needs help for, say, 6 or 8 hours a day rather than 24, the monthly cost can be a fraction of that $9,200 nursing home bill. Your parent stays in the home they love. They keep their dignity, their routines, their neighborhood, and the family's finances last far longer. But here is the part almost nobody knows. There are programs that will pay for that home care, including Medicaid itself. Most states now offer what are called home and community-based services, delivered through Medicaid waiver programs. The entire purpose of these programs is to keep people out of nursing homes by paying for care in their own homes instead. Personal care aides, adult daycare, home modifications like grab bars and ramps, respite care to give family caregivers a break. In some states, these waiver programs will even pay a family member to provide the care. Your own daughter, your own son, compensated for looking after you. Eleanor qualified for exactly this kind of waiver program. Instead of a nursing home, she received a home health aide 5 days a week, paid substantially through Medicaid's community-based services, and Karen was able to keep her mother in her own home. The savings were not drained in 19 months. Eleanor lived another 4 years in the house she loved. The second alternative is assisted living, and understanding how it differs from a nursing home is crucial. An assisted living facility is not a nursing home. It is a residential community for people who need help with daily activities, dressing, medication, meals, but who do not require constant skilled medical care. It offers independence with support, and it typically costs significantly less than a nursing home, often in the range of $4,000 to $6,000 a month rather than $9,000 to $11,000. For many families, the person they are about to place in a nursing home does not actually need nursing home level care yet. They need assisted living, and the difference in cost over several years can be well over $100,000, money that stays in the family instead of going to an institution for a level of care their parent did not even require. Some states also help cover assisted living costs through those same Medicaid waiver programs, though the rules vary. This is exactly the kind of thing an elder law attorney or a local area agency on aging can help you navigate. The third alternative is a combination approach, built around family and community. Many families successfully keep a parent at home through a patchwork, some paid in-home care, some family caregiving, adult day programs a few days a week, meal delivery services, and community senior resources. Adult daycare in particular is dramatically underused. For a modest daily cost, often far less than full-time care, your parent spends the day in a supervised, social environment with activities and meals while you work or rest, and comes home in the evening. It addresses two of the biggest reasons families give up and choose a nursing home: safety during the day and caregiver burnout. Let me tell you about a second family, because their story shows a different path through the same decision and a different mistake avoided. James was 81 and lived alone in Georgia after his wife passed. His memory had been slipping for a year, and after he left the stove on twice in 1 week, his son Michael knew something had to change. Michael lived 4 hours away and could not move in. The family's first instinct, again, was the nursing home, the only option they could picture from that distance. But Michael had learned, from a friend who had been through it, to ask about assisted living before defaulting to skilled nursing. He toured a memory care assisted living community near his father's home. It cost about $5,200 a month, not cheap, but a fraction of the $11,000 a month the skilled nursing facility down the road was charging, and critically, it was the right level of care. James did not need round-the-clock skilled nursing. He needed a safe environment, help with medications, meals, and supervision. Assisted living gave him exactly that, plus social activity he had not had since his wife died. Here is the number that matters. Over the 3 years James lived there, the difference between assisted living and a nursing home, roughly $5,800 a month, added up to more than $200,000. $200,000 that stayed in the family, protected James's remaining savings, and eventually passed to his grandchildren, instead of being paid to an institution for a level of care he never needed. Michael told me the mistake he almost made was assuming that needs help automatically meant nursing home. It rarely does. Most people who need help need far less than a nursing home provides, and paying nursing home prices for assisted living needs is one of the most expensive errors a family can make. Let me put all the numbers side by side, because seeing them together is what makes this real. A nursing home averages $9,000 to $11,000 a month, over $100,000 a year. Assisted living typically runs $4,000 to $6,000 a month. A home health aide for, say, 6 hours a day, 5 days a week, often lands well below the cost of a nursing home depending on your area. Adult daycare can be as little as $50 to $80 a day, and care provided by a family member, sometimes compensated through a Medicaid waiver program, can cost the family almost nothing while keeping the parent at home. Now watch what happens over 5 years. A nursing home at $10,000 a month is $600,000 over 5 years, enough to erase almost any family's life savings. That same family, using a combination of part-time home care, adult day programs, and family caregiving supported by a Medicaid waiver, might spend a fraction of that, keep the parent at home the entire time, and preserve most of what they built. The gap between the two paths is not small. It is frequently the difference between a family that keeps its home and savings and a family that loses everything. Now let me address the moment this decision usually happens, because timing is everything and the system is designed in a way that pushes families toward the most expensive options. The nursing home decision is almost always made in crisis. There is a fall, a stroke, a hospitalization. The hospital, under pressure to discharge, hands the family a list of nursing homes and a deadline. Everything about that moment pushes you toward signing quickly, toward the institution, toward the most expensive path, because it is the fastest to arrange and the one the hospital discharge planner knows best. You are allowed to slow down. You are allowed to ask the discharge planner about home health options, about waiver programs, about assisted living. You are allowed to say, we want to explore in-home care before we consider a nursing home. The hospital's job is to discharge safely, not to choose the most expensive option for your family. And a short rehabilitation stay, which Medicare does cover, can buy you the time to arrange a better long-term plan than a permanent nursing home placement. Now I need to be honest with you about something, because I never want to give you false comfort. These home and community-based waiver programs are powerful, but they are not automatic, and they are not the same in every state. Each state runs its own Medicaid waiver programs with its own names, its own rules, and often its own waiting lists. In some states, the programs are generous and relatively easy to access. In others, there are waiting lists that can stretch for months or longer, which means you cannot always count on a waiver being available the moment you need it. This is one more reason why planning early matters so much. Getting on a waiting list before the crisis rather than after can make all the difference. The programs also have financial eligibility rules because they are part of Medicaid. That means the same look-back period, the same asset limits, and the same planning considerations that apply to nursing home Medicaid generally apply here too. This is not a reason to avoid them. It is a reason to get proper guidance so you qualify correctly and do not accidentally disqualify yourself. An elder law attorney who knows your state's specific waiver programs is worth every penny of the consultation because they know which programs exist where you live, how long the waits are, and how to position your family to qualify. Here is the practical path to finding out what your state offers. Start with your local area agency on aging. I will come back to them because they are the most underused resource in this entire system. They can tell you exactly which waiver programs operate in your area. Your state Medicaid office publishes this information as well, and an elder law attorney can translate all of it into a plan specific to your parent's situation. Let me be honest with you about when a nursing home genuinely is the right answer, because sometimes it is. If your parent needs round-the-clock skilled medical care, if they have advanced dementia and are a danger to themselves, if they require constant nursing intervention that cannot safely be provided at home, then a skilled nursing facility may be the right and loving choice. I am not telling you nursing homes are wrong. I am telling you they are the right answer far less often than they are chosen. The tragedy is not the families who truly need a nursing home. It is the families who spend $100,000 a year on institutional care for a parent who could have stayed home safely and happily for a fraction of the cost simply because no one told them the alternatives existed. Here is what to do, step by step, before you make this decision. First, before any placement, get an honest assessment of the actual level of care your parent needs. Not the worst-case fear, the actual need. A geriatric care manager or your parent's physician can help. Many families discover their parent needs assisted living or part-time home care, not a nursing home at all. Second, contact your local area agency on aging. Every region in the country has one. They are free and they exist specifically to help families understand the options and programs available in your state. This single phone call has saved families more money than almost any other step. Third, before spending down a single dollar or signing any admission agreement, speak with an elder law attorney. They will know your state's Medicaid waiver programs, the home and community-based services available, and how to access care without needlessly destroying your family's savings. The consultation costs a few $100s. The mistake it prevents can cost $100,000. Fourth, if care at home is even remotely possible, explore it fully before defaulting to an institution. In-home care, adult day programs, family caregiving compensated through waiver programs. Stack these together and you may keep your parent home for years. Let me return to Eleanor and Karen one last time. 4 years after that first hospital hallway, Eleanor passed away peacefully, in her own bed, in the home she had lived in for 50 years with Karen beside her. The savings that a nursing home would have consumed in 19 months had instead helped fund 4 years of care at home, with plenty left to settle the estate. Karen told me that the single best decision she ever made was the phone call she almost did not make. The call to ask whether there was another way. Before she signed the nursing home papers, everyone was pushing toward her. There is almost always another way, but no one is going to tell you about it in that hospital hallway. The discharge planner will not. The nursing home admissions office will not. You have to know to ask, and now you do. So before you make this decision for your mother, your father, or someday for yourself, promise me you will do one thing. You will pause. You will ask whether there is another way. And you will find out what your family is truly entitled to before you give away everything they spent a lifetime building. If this helped you, send it to your brothers and sisters, the people who will be in that hallway with you. And watch my video on the Ladybird deed next, because keeping your parent at home and protecting the home itself are two halves of the same plan. You handle everything. Let me help you handle this. Stay sharp, stay protected, and protect the people who spent their lives protecting you.